Welcome back to your podcast, people. Back again this week. Joined by a very special guest, Ben Eastwood in now. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm all right, my man. Thank you for having me.
Mate, thank you for coming up. I say coming up, turns out you live quite close to me.
Yeah, turns out we do.
Yeah, so you live kind of in around Simley, don't you?
Yeah, in around Simley. Moved over here about 4 years ago from Stockport.
Oh, so is that where you... So I know obviously you've got your gym, which we'll get to, that's based in Stockport. So have you always kind of lived in and around Stockport?
Yeah, I grew up in Stockport, moved about a few different places within Stockport, and then me and the wife decided to move probably about 4 years ago, and she works at Tameside A&E.
Ah, nice. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it made sense. Again, I know a few people from around that way as well, so kind of bridge the gap. But also, we wanted somewhere out in the sticks.
Yeah, it's nice around here, isn't it? Like, it's a bit more of a prettier sort of place, and it's a lot quieter, apart from traffic, which we have spoken about. Yeah, if anyone knows about Glossop, you can't get through in 10 minutes. It's a half-hour job, and that is it. But yeah, it's I suppose with like the sort of the content you do, it kind of makes sense for you to be sort of out the sticks, innit, really?
Yeah, I think like if you go to the edge of the Stockport, it's got some nice places. You can find, mate, with me, you can find anything anywhere.
Yeah.
But definitely since moving out here, the places are just absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, I like in where I am in time with my life at the minute, my own headspace is important.
Yeah, of course.
And I think what you get around here is you can go out, find somewhere, and see little people and just be in a beautiful place. Whereas when I was in Stockport, it's like you're on top of people, and it's just quite intense. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just mentally and spacious wise. So yeah, it's been a big move for us, but a positive one for
that's all that matters, isn't it? It's a positive one. Well, I wanted to kind of touch on, because your Instagram's mental, mate. Like just having a look down your Instagram is mental. Like you're climbing up rock faces, you're climbing up like waterfalls, you're just doing like, mad stuff. Like it's all just mad. So what's that kind of just stem from? Is it just something you enjoy? Is it like a hobby or?
Yeah, to be fair, it's funny because one of the toughest things for me over the last couple of years is I started to create a company called obviously B1 Mindset, and that is about kind of you in life, self-development, about how you are moving forward in life, how do you know yourself, do you know where you want to go, can you find yourself, how are things affecting you, all this kind of stuff. But because my background is so fitness related, it's been a tough shift to get people not to think so B1's not about fitness, and I'm like, no, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, fitness is my life, and when I say fitness, I just mean, like you say, going out and pushing my mind and body. So all that stuff that you see, I've been doing that since I was 16, 17.
Jesus. Just
in different ways. And it was to help me. My teen years were ruthless. And it was an outlet for me that wasn't violence or crime or whatever it was. And I really had something to kind of put my focus into. And I think, realistically, thinking over the last year or so, when I've done a lot of in-depth work on myself, fitness was the first thing that I was good at. And just something in life that even I thought, I'm actually fucking good at this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hung on to it and just give it everything I had. Everything else, like I was terrible in school, then suspended, getting expelled. I was switched on, like I was smart, but didn't go to school. Took drugs.
You had common sense, didn't you? But you just didn't like, apply yourself.
100%.
Yeah. I feel like it's quite prominent in the northern sort of traditional sort of northern towns. Like you tend to find that the story is quite common because of kind of where we come from.
Yeah.
Like if you have a look at a lot of like your big like rugby league stars, there's another one like St Helens have just won in Trefollow Rugby League.
Not football.
To put a bit of backstory, so St Helens are obviously a town just in between Wigan and Liverpool, and they've just gone over to the World Club Champions and just won in Australia, which never happens. It doesn't ever happen. It happens every year where the champions of England, champions of Australia, and England never beat them. But they did this year, and you can just tell they're all just traditional working class lads.
Yeah.
So do you feel like with your sort of focusing on like the gym, did that kind of just like completely change your life as soon as you found it, or was it like a gradual process?
I think if I didn't find a gym, if I didn't have fitness in a gym, I don't know where I'd be in life as a whole. I think through my younger teens, I was dipping in and out of going to the gym, but I wasn't majorly fitness focused. That was just heavy drug taking, heavy kind of just bad behaviour, crime and all that kind of stuff. In in the flip of that, I went through a lot of bullying, so I kind of like had this switch personality of like, how can I make something of myself, and that was to be so bad behaved that I got a name for myself.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I created a name for myself because I was like, how do I do it? So I started to become this really kind of reckless kid, like doing horrendous things to people, to places, all this kind of stuff. And again, it was a fake person, because inside I was a scared kid at that time, man. Lost kid. And then near the end of my teens, I started to get catched out a bit, if I'm honest with you. And we started to hang about with people that were a bit out of our league, from inner Manchester. And I think I'd grown out of my shoes and I'd started to become someone that I really wasn't. But then when you start to hang around with people that are on a next level to the stuff you're doing,
it clicks.
So there was a couple of situations, and one in particular, and it was like, I need to get out of this, man. I need to get away. I was quite scared in a powerful situation, and I pulled that much that I came away from my best mates. And when I say I came away with my best mates, like my day ones.
Yeah, you're close, because like people you grew up with.
Yeah, the people that I see, I kind of like, it hits me a little bit now when I see people who have still got mates from when they were like young, and because that's for me, they're the closest friendships you'll ever have. You can still, don't get me wrong, mate, I've got some good close friends now, but the day oneers, but I split from them. And that became the most isolated I've ever been in my life. So I didn't see anyone. I was so alone. It was untrue. And that is when fitness saved me, because I don't know where I'd have gone, because I started to really kind of go into a bad hole then. And I wouldn't see anyone. I'd just be in a room, wouldn't be going out. Obviously just addicted to a lot of drugs just because I was doing them anyway. So then you can't just automatically stop that. But then fitness just became this thing, and I just applied myself, and I used a lot of the pain that I was feeling at that time and just drilled it into fitness. So people see me doing all this crazy stuff now, but they don't realise that, man, that's been 20 years of driving heavy emotions and dark thoughts into it. And when most people give up, it's because they've got something in their head saying, oh, it's hurting, it's burning, you're feeling out of breath. But I've learned, those times I've been like, remember when this happened to you, remember when he said that, remember when he did this, remember when you were there. And those thoughts for me are like, you ain't fucking stopping, Ben.
So is that your motivation?
Yeah, in my mind, I'm like, Ben, you keep going right now. And it's my ability to keep on pushing, and it's what people always kind of think like, what's you relentless with it? And I'm like, it's just ingrained within me. And I'm it's a tough one. Someone said to me once, like, you can't take away your past because it's made you who you are.
Of course, yeah.
And I agree with that, but I still think that I can help people find something now that breeds that. I'm not saying they need to be as relentless as I am within that, but I feel like anyone in life can pursue something now, kind of like what you're doing with this. And this is why I kind of like, I found a lot of respect and wanted to be on this. I appreciate you having me on. But it's like, you found something that you want to do, that you've got passion for, so you've gone and done it. And you're putting work in to make it happen and to make it as good as it is and the quality that it is. There's a lot of people out there that just start to become lost, but just haven't got the oomph to go and do something about it.
Yeah.
Do you
find, like, I find that a lot with PTs a lot, because, you know, PTs, it's probably one of the most saturated job markets in the world, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, it just is. And the people at the top always have the same mindset, I tend to feel like, where it's, like, obviously, with no excuses. So, like, you can tell why. Like, when I was waiting for you to come, I was just scrolling through. He's just done a marathon.
He's a sick guy.
He's been so ill, and it's like just done a marathon. But like the people at the top of that game all have the same mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you feel like going to like the deep dark places? Do you feel like that really kind of benefits and makes you like a bit more relatable to people? Do you think that kind of?
I don't know. I think being vulnerable is been one of my biggest leverages. Not necessarily relating to people in terms of saying, being open and honest about the dark places, but being very open and honest about my vulnerability. And they see this tough exterior sometimes, but that's what I showed when I was younger. The difference now is I've matured and I've learned. When I was younger, I was a scared kid, and I got in a lot of situations I was very lucky to get out of. And it's funny because I've had these thoughts recently, which is like, I'm so glad that I'm not the person now that I was. I'm not the person now that I could have been back then.
Yeah.
Because if I had the confidence in myself and my abilities back then, I think I would have landed myself in a lot of trouble. But I pulled myself away from a lot. I was very switched on as a young kid as well. I knew when something was going to happen or X, Y, Z. And that was through kind of like my animal instincts and emotions.
Yeah,
just
picking
stuff
your
up.
natural sort.
Yeah,
of,
you know.
It's like fight or flight.
Yeah,
really,
mate,
yeah.
and you know when like it's right. Okay, this and there's a couple, but now I wouldn't. It would be logical thinking and be like, keep calm and like let's compose and let's act on this. So, but again, I'm matured now. So for me, I don't want to be in any situation that's going to negatively affect my life. So I'm very aware of the places that I go, the people that I'm around, because I know where I want my life to go to, and I know the transition I've made, and I'm massive on that. Like who you surround yourself with, what you listen to, what you watch, what you read, what you think in your mind, all these things just create your whole reality, basically.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's what I'm trying to shine across, and I think it's a tough one because I think people. The reason without the tangent there, to go back to what you're saying, the reason I tried not to say it's about zoning into the dark thoughts is because not everyone has the deepest, darkest thoughts.
Everyone's different, aren't they? Yeah.
So you might get someone who's a bit tough on himself, but isn't really kind of going to the depths that some people talk about. So they're like, well, I could never push myself that because I've not. Do you know what I mean? And you get a lot of celebrities coming, like even Tyson Fury, when he come out and he talks about the depths and all this kind of stuff, and it's like there's a lot of them that come out, but that's not necessarily what's made them. Do you know what I mean? Like technically and hard work and discipline and ability and work rate and work ethic, and these are all the things that build you. And there's a lot of people that can use a positive mindset and positive memories to drive them just as much. But I think there's a lot of people. I think the one thing that is fuel. I think negativity can be fuel, but I also think positivity can be fuel, and it's however you want to.
I agree. Positive reinforcement is key. Well, I know you can't really use kind of like animal sort of instinct, but when positive reinforcement works with like every single sort of species on Earth.
Yeah.
So and people forget that about kind of like humans at the same time because we have both sides, don't we? But positive reinforcement just works. So I work in sales.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, mindset is key because if you've got to strive for more, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like, that's the mindset you've always got to have.
Yeah.
So do you know like when you sort of, because obviously when you're going back to like your fitness in your early days, do you feel like obviously getting the expelled from school and kind of the bad places you went with school, do you reckon that kind of drove you down that dark path? Do you reckon like not school failed you, but sort of school, because obviously with you being able to discipline yourself into fitness, do you think that school could have maybe got you into that as an early part, or?
Yeah, I think it's something I've thought a lot about, because I know a lot of my mates or people that I know are now teachers and stuff, and I know a lot of teachers that go to our gym, and I think schools are starting to change in a way.
Yeah.
And I think definitely kind of since I've got a lad and he's in nursery, and the things they do with him in nursery I think are phenomenal, and I think there is a lot more now around, especially at a younger age, helping kids understand emotions more or understand how to breathe when they start to get angry and all these things that would have helped. I think school, I failed school and school failed me. I think I was horrendous in school. I was easily the naughtiest kid in my year, if not the full school. I wasn't the hardest, and like I say, I went through a lot of bullying. I had a lot of people that hated me in school. But again, that turned me into someone that was just so rebellious, because I think that was my only cling on to, that's going to be my identity. So people are going to like me. So I was ruthless to teachers, to the place, to what I did. So I can't really badmouth of school when I was being like that, because how many teachers would want to. It's funny enough, a teacher come to the gym to sign up at Benchmark. Yeah. And she saw me and she was like, she went white. And not through fear of seeing me, through thinking like, you're Ben Eastwood. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
just shock of
like,
this guy's like, you've completely turned your life around. And I'm like, without a doubt, that's the other thing. Like, if you spoke to anyone in my life in my late teens to early 20s, they would think I was going absolutely nowhere. And I think even my mum and dad, who are always going to have belief in a son and love for the son, probably were subconsciously deep down thinking, like, where is my Ben going? And there's times when I was surface going to juvenile, kind of getting locked up, basically, just gave that. And it's like what I put my mum and dad through as well was horrendous. That's probably my biggest regret in life.
So that will be your... That's what I was going to ask that. What would... Because obviously with all the things that was happened in the past, would that be your one biggest regret then?
My biggest regret is how I treated my mum and dad.
Yeah.
And what I put them through. And I know they'll turn around and say, like, it's just part and process of being a parent and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think I can ever really... Because there's a lot that went on, and I think that's one thing that I'll never lose. But that's also been a driver for me.
Of course, yeah. So it works part and parcel, doesn't it?
There's a point in my life when I switched, and I remember I'd never... there's a point in my life something happened, and then every time I left my mum, I'd give her a kiss. And I've done that for the rest of my life. Told her I loved her and give her a kiss. And there was that switch, and then it's just that... there's a real kind of mindset shift around my parents and what they stuck by me through, and what they must have had to go through and deal with.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, my police station, my dad had to pick me up from, and fucking jail in suits and fucking sick all down me and every, like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's my worry. I've got my little lad now, and I know I can't control Jax, and he will always live his own life. But I think and it kind of links into what you were saying then. I think that if we can teach younger people how to understand their emotions more and understand their thoughts more, I think they'll have a better chance of living more positively.
Agreed.
Because it's negativity. Negativity isn't a bad thing, but it is when you don't know how to deal with it. Because generally that's going to come out in a behaviour that is quite nasty or quite damaging to yourself or to other people. To
it's like impulsive, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But if you can start to learn, right, okay, I'm starting to feel angry now, or I'm starting to feel sad now, I'm starting to feel upset now. Okay, what
can I do to
help
this?
do you know what I mean?
Can I cope? How can I...
Yeah, you think about some people.
Yeah,
some people self-harm, cut themselves, scratch themselves, hit themselves, punch walls, do whatever it is, or then they do it to other people. Mm-hmm. You get really wound up, they're going to hit someone or kick someone or go and do something. That's a repercussion, that's a behaviour of feeling an emotion. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And generally, going back to like our primitive animal reactions, that's not logical thinking.
Yeah.
But if we can teach someone just, okay, start to feel angry, just breathe and calm down a little bit. Now let's logically think what's the best thing to do. Is the best thing to go and crack that guy? Mm-hmm. Is the best thing to self-harm?
Yeah.
Is the best thing to go and do, or even overeat or undereat or go and be, do you know, all these issues that people have. And it's always coming down to how someone's... Sorry to go so deep on a podcast.
This is fantastic.
Just going next level deep on you, mate. You're sat there like, watching.
This is fantastic. Like, the insight. So we had... we've had another mental health charity on, called Evolving Mindset, Limo. So he's a football manager streamer, and he was the same. He just told a story. And sometimes the best thing about a podcast is when the host can just sit back and just go... I can listen to this. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, when else are you going to hear stories like this? Like, at the end of the day, like, podcasts are traditionally very comedian heavy at the moment. Yeah. They're all about making people laugh, But at the end of the day, like, these things happen. Like, and you need to understand that these things happen. So, do you know, with the B1 mindset, sort of, has that just been like a gradual process again, or?
That's been... basically, all the So when I turned... I've had probably about 3 pivotal moments in my life for positive change.
Yeah.
Or not maybe positive in the moment because of it wasn't nice, but it had a positive effect going forward. So when I was 30, me and my wife was she my wife at the time? We were together. I don't think we'd been married then. We went away to Portugal for my 30th birthday, and we come home, and my dad come and pick us up from the airport. It might have been my mum and dad. And my dad drove us back home, and I was like, "Where's mum?" She goes, "Oh, she's just gone out to do a bit of shopping." She's going to come round. So my dad took us to our house, come in, and then my mum come in, and she goes, "Sit down on the couch." And then she said to Rach, "Can I sit down with him and hold his hand?" I don't think she said that to me. She said it to Rach. I didn't hear that bit.
Yeah, Rach is your partner.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, my partner. Yeah. And then my mum kind of like knelt or sat in front of us and just said that I've got cancer. And so I was like, I just fucking took me back, like you wouldn't.
It would do, yeah. It would do to anyone.
Yeah, man. And so she had cancer, and then it started to really progress, and it's to the point that the doctors started to tell her that she wasn't going to survive.
It's aggressive, yeah.
It took over numerous parts of her body. She was in so much pain. Her stomach had swelled just fucking phenomenally, mate. The pain she must have been in, emotionally and physically, I could never even imagine.
Yeah.
And I don't think she'd even be able to kind of explain or ever tell us. And again, we went through this mad period, and I think that's the numbest I've ever been in terms of feeling. Obviously, I went through little bits of anger, but I think in terms of my head, not having any thoughts in, like, the best way I can describe it is just numb.
Especially coming back from a holiday as well, where you've had them highs.
Yeah, mate, just getting on
Straight,
Portugal, getting bladdered with the wife, 30th, and then coming back and hearing that. But then, even the months that progressed, I think I was just in this numb state, and especially because it just seemed to be getting worse and worse, and spreading and all this kind of stuff. And then, the most positive news out of the months that followed was that she had one scan and it hadn't spread to her lungs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it had spread into, I think there was 3 areas it kind of really developed in, and she told me this story, and I'm paraphrasing to a degree, but she basically said she kind of sat in front of the doctor, and the doctor kind of said, because I think my mum started to tell the doctor, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And my mum's big on NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming, and just a lot to do with kind of like how your thoughts and visualizations and how your belief can affect your biology and your body.
Of course, yeah.
So my mum was doing all this work on herself, this unbelievable transformation of both her inside state and her external state, the things she was eating and drinking and how she was being. And the doctor was saying, it's a waste of time, like, it's not going to work. So she was on chemo, so don't get me wrong, that played its part. But she beat it. She beat it, mate.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and that for me was the pivotal point of, like, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Man? Like my mum was, I thought she was gone. And I've never seen my dad how my dad was in that state. He just lost. Dad lost life at that point.
He probably numb to the world.
Yeah, honestly, mate. Yeah, if I felt numb, I don't know how
he
felt, but I've never seen my dad like that. He was more numb than I've ever seen him in any of my time. And for her to do that, and for her to kind of, for the doctor to kind of, I think, pretty much turn around and had to say I'm sorry to her that he said what he said to her, because she'd proven flat in his face.
Proven completely wrong.
Yeah, so how many people he fucking said that to that believed him?
Yeah.
Because my mum just bold was like, I ain't going nowhere.
Of course, yeah.
I'm
doing everything I can in my power.
Yeah, I've got 3 beautiful kids. I've got my husband. I'm going fucking nowhere. And she believed it so strongly, and everything she did with it, and I'm not saying the chemo don't play a huge part in that, because it did. And she went through the whole process. I'm talking, this was severe to the point that they thought she was going to die, and she beat it. So for me, it was like, man, that is the absolute epitome of you can do anything you want in this life.
Yeah, of course.
And she gave me a book. Sorry, mate, it's a bit of a ramble, but she gave me a book. I was meant to go to Thailand with my wife in December, and I was like, I can't go. But my wife and my mum just spoke, you need to go. It's not gonna. You've got time. You need to go. She gave me this book by Wayne Dyer, and it's about kind of, I think it's like the secrets of inner peace. I think that's what the book was called.
Okay.
And it just talked about fucking letting go of anger, letting go of hate, letting go of
mental
resentment.
strength, sort of. It's all about mental strength.
And it was more talking about the damage anger does and the damage hate does. And the funny thing is, mate, for 30 years, I hated the world. I hated myself. I hated other people just because of the things that I used to hate, the way I looked, the way I was. I used to hate other people and the things they'd done to me. I used to have so much blame and resentment and all of these fucking negative emotions. And what was that doing to my body and my life?
Yeah,
like my reality was just full of hate. And that's why I was getting myself in so many bad circumstances. And I just lived in this hostile head. Like my whole life, from the moment I waked up in the morning till the fucking time I was able to get to sleep, because I could never sleep, was just negative. I had a horrendous mind, and I just lived in that state for years and years. And that's kind of like when I got into cage fighting and MMA. I got in the cage just not caring if I got hurt. I was such a bad mindset when I went into cage fights. Like, I didn't care, and I got some beatings in the cage. But again, someone was like, I'm getting back in 2 weeks, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to fuck. I don't give a fuck right now, I'm getting back in. And I just it was a relentless kick, but I just wanted pain. At that moment in my life, through my 20s, and that was before anything to do with my mum, through my 20s, I just wanted to feel pain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just got in there. If I got hit, I got whatever it was, I just wanted to feel pain. And pain was like a release for me. Pain was like a drug for me. And I think from just to finish that story off, so my mum gave us that book, and the book was about releasing and emotions and understanding them more. And then I went on this journey of learning more about self-development. So over the last 6 to 7 years, the amount of research, courses, books I've read about self-development, understanding the mind more, understanding the body more, how they work together, understanding how your thoughts kind of create your reality, the people you're, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm a different person, mate. I am a completely different person. My world's completely changed. I've got an amazing son, an amazing wife. I'm financially the best off I've ever been in my life. I own 2 fucking amazing businesses. One now, which is a not-for-profit company that's hopefully going to help people as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the best place I could ever be. I think, but like, don't get me wrong, I still go through dark spells and I still have dark patches, but I know how to cope with them better. And for me now to sit here and think, you in your 20s, man, you went through periods where you didn't want to be here.
Imagine if you told your 18-year-old self, imagine right now, or not even just you, imagine if I went to your 18-year-old self right now and told him exactly what you just told me there.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd believe it?
Do you know what? I don't think it. This is the toughest thing in the world for me, because I've been asked to kind of go in and potentially speak in schools.
That'd be fantastic. I think you should do.
But the hardest thing for me to get my head around is, I think, I can't give you a straight answer because I truly don't know.
Yeah.
But I think, would I have just been like, I don't give a fuck off?
Yeah, would you have brushed it off?
I'd have been like, who the fuck are you? Fuck off. Go and get weed. Go and get pills.
Yeah.
Go and get smashed up. Go and do you know, do whatever it was. Would I have been in that mindset that I was in? Or would I have taken would it have mattered who came and said it to me? Or would it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's very situation dependent, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
but you never know.
But I don't. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but so that's what I'm thinking. Like, if you're going to school, and then I think if you're going to school, which angle do you go at? Because you don't want to be telling them how to live, because that's the resistance. But can you relate to them first and then transition it? But at the same time, it's a tough question, mate. It's a tough question.
I think it'd be perfect. So I remember in high school we had 2 they're now very big, if I'm being honest, like public speakers, and they both came to my high school and they were both fantastic. So one of them is Andy Grant. Don't know if you know about Andy Grant. He basically got his leg blown off. He has a podcast now called the Leg It Podcast.
Right, nice.
And I was actually lucky enough to meet him.
Wow.
At Aintree last year at a Grand National, and I literally said to him straight away, I was like, "You're not going to remember this because of all the schools you go to, but your story like resonated with me."
Wow.
Like, it was just the fact of he's got his leg blown off, and like a year or 2 later, he's running marathons. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how can, like, if that happened to me, I thought if that happened to me, I'd just spiral. But then you're looking at it like, if he can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
It's mental. So is that what the whole kind of B1 mindset is? Because obviously, as you were saying, the not-for-profit is kind of taken off at the moment. So are you wanting to kind of deliver the online courses, or where's kind of like the direction you want to go with it?
So it is all online based, and it's more. I think the whole philosophy behind B1 is about finding yourself.
Yeah.
So becoming one with yourself, because for so long that's kind of where the name come like B1. It's like become one with yourself, and that's understanding yourself. Like, for so many years I hated myself. I was like living with someone that I hated.
Yeah.
Like, I personally feel I've had bipolar for the whole of my life. Never been diagnosed. I definitely feel I've either had bipolar or personality disorder. There's just something not been right with me through my life, and I think that the more I've developed, I've got now a psychology diploma, and the more I've learned about the mind and body, there's definitely something there. But the benefit now is, even if it did have it, I feel I'm in such a better place because I can understand it.
Of course, it's about understanding.
I can understand who's speaking. I can understand who's taking control in the moment. So even if there is 2 people bouncing or 3 people, however many fucking people, I understand who I am at a certain time. And then it's bringing them back to the centre of, like, who are you? Who do you want to be? What are your values? What should you be doing? Just, like, say, logical. And I'm very good now at pulling myself back before I react. Don't get me wrong, there are still times where I react out.
That's normal.
So like I say, I ain't no perfect guy. And that's something I'm always very open with on my social media. Like, I am not a perfect guy, and I still make a lot of mistakes, but I will own up to them, I'll face up to them, and I still kind of... so B1 is about just do you understand yourself?
Yeah.
And are you living the life that you want to live, and are you being the person that you want to be? And I think just because there are a lot of people, and again, B1's not for everyone in terms of, well, it is for everyone, because what I do with B1 is there's no question that I give an answer to. I pose a question for that individual to come up with the answer.
Yeah.
So you could get 100 people doing the same question or the same task. They're going to come up with 100 different answers because it's relatable to their life and how they want their life to be or what's affecting them. But then if they go through the process of it, they start to design how they want to be and what they want. And that for me is significant because I don't think that's taught enough in school. So I think the whole education about,
I would agree, yeah.
About your maths, English, science, etc. And I know they are developing different ones, like rock climbing's one now, which I love and stuff like that. But I don't think there's enough around like understanding yourself and how you feel about yourself and what does ambition mean to you? Like, do you know, just little things like that, like to a kid, like what's ambition? And a lot of them wouldn't fucking know, like what you're ambitious for, like what you're motivated for. And I think that it's just bringing that out in people. And again, that's what so I'm 37, kind of going 38 this year, but age is just a number to me. Like I say it so many times, but I feel like my life is only just started in the last few years. Mm-hmm. And I've got fucking so much ahead of me. I'm the most ambitious guy I'd say I'm up there with one of the ambitious people you could meet. And some people are like, you're doing too much. I'm not doing too much. What you got to understand is, and I'm not, by the way, when I say this, I'm not dissing these other things, but what I'm saying is I took them out so I could be more productive in other areas. So instead of kind of going to the pub now, and instead of smoking weed every single night, that took me just chilling, watching TV or playing on my games or whatever, instead of on the weekend going out and getting messy, whatever it may be, I'm putting that now into productive things in my eyes that are going to take me forward. Now, just to spin back on that, I miss weed and I'm not against weed. Yeah. I think weed's mint. I think it should be legalised. And I've had some amazing times on weed, and it's a drug that's helped me calm down. So I'm not against it. The difference is, for me, it makes me unproductive.
Yeah.
So for me, for a choice in my life, it's like, if I smoke weed, I become extremely unproductive.
Yeah.
I become a bit too lazy. In the morning, I'm stoned over for 3-4 hours, so I don't wake up. So my choice is to knock weed on the head, I've not smoked weed for a hell of a long time now, and it's made me more productive. But I'm not anti it, and there's some people that can...
Fascinating that, because you see a lot of people where if something bad has happened from there, they become anti that thing. But it's good that you still embrace it, you still see the positive. You just think, for me, doesn't work for me. I think that's
because mate, who the fuck? I just keep swearing.
No, it's fine.
Who is to say what is right and wrong? Do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
So like drinking as well, man. Like, I try not to drink just because I am more likely to react emotionally when I've had a drink rather than logically think.
Yeah. And
I can be very reactive off drink. I can go two ways. But if I snap off drink, I could become a different person, do something that's going to really affect where I am in life. So now don't drink very often. If I do drink, I'm around the people I want to be around or at home.
Yeah.
But I'm not anti-drink. Like, the fact that people can go out and socialise and have good banter and go on good nights out and all this kind of stuff, man, I love that. Like, that's their life. Mm-hmm. And if it's serving them and they want it, they can have it. And the same with drugs and stuff like that. Like, as long as it's not damaging your life and damaging X, Y, Z, like, it's nothing to do with
do
me.
What you want.
Just go and enjoy it. But again, you've just got to come to the realisation: is it a one-off and you're enjoying it, or is it becoming an addiction where it's actually taking you into a negative hole?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I had to step away from benders, because it's like it just mentally destroyed me. Mm-hmm. And I've got an addictive personality. Yeah. I truly have. I'm addicted to fitness, or I'm addicted to kind of like now I'm addicted to reading and learning. That's a weird thing to say, but it's better than being addicted to getting bladdered, getting bags, and then that's taking your weekend up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just being smart with my choices now, but I'm never anti to what anyone does in life, because how can it be from the stuff that I've done, and who knows what I'm going to do going forward. So I'm the least judgmental person in the world, bar on myself.
Yeah.
I judge myself and I judge my choices, but for other people, you've got to learn yourself.
Of course.
And that's why I'm big on like who you're around, who you look up to, who you follow. Social media, I think it is a positive thing, but it's depending who you're following.
Of course. I agree. I agree massively.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I think that's a really powerful message to actually say as well, and thank you for sharing it.
No.
Do you mind if we have a little break and then come back for a part two?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so coming for part two, I want to dive more into kind of what it's like to kind of own your gym. Yeah. Obviously the boxing, the MMA.
Yeah.
Just dive more into that.
Sounds good, mate.
Part 2, and we are back after a nice little break there. I really wanted to dive into sort of like your foray into kind of combat sports, really.
Okay.
Because you've done a bit of boxing.
Yep.
You've done a bit of MMA and stuff.
Yep.
So, with the boxing, did you ever kind of go pro? Or is it just like white collar? I couldn't really work it out from your Instagram. It looked a bit...
Yeah, so basically, MMA was the first thing that I did. And went from amateur to semi-pro to pro. And then I came out of MMA just because when I was... Money back in the day when I was doing MMA was poor. The most I ever got for a fight was £1,000. Injuries were brutal.
Of course, yeah.
So it could put you out for...
It's hard.
Oh, mate,
you have to master like 5 disciplines?
Yeah, what was I? I was doing catch wrestling, jiu-jitsu but no gi, JKD is my stand-up, and then going down to kind of a S&C camp as well. So it's literally, it was my fault, everything I'm putting into.
Yeah.
But then you come out of a fight with a broken collarbone and a broken nose and broken cheekbone, so you're out fighting for 6 weeks and training for a certain part of time, so you've got no income. And then sometimes I'm still injured, needing money, so going back in for fights. It was like I say, don't get me wrong, mate. I can look back and I won a belt during my time. Had some bad losses, but had some good wins. Like the journey and process, the people that I met. Again, some great memories from it, good and bad. And again, all building who I am today, so I can't fault it. But when I come out of that, there was a large spell where I didn't do anything. And then I reached back into, went through a little bit of shit, and I went back, contacted an old mate who's now my coach, Seb, at KBS Fitness over in Stockport, and he kind of took me back under his wing, started me coaching again, and started to coach me in Thai, and just getting the fitness back up to scratch. I was becoming fucking fit again, doing a lot of Thai, and then I thought I want to hit boxing. I want to kind of get what I wanted to do was. Again, I used to fight in MMA with the wrong mentality.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I used to get in is just wanting, again, just getting in there for a scrap. And I wasn't trying to execute my skill. I put so much time and effort into my training. And in the training room, I'd be so well focused in execution of technique and my ability and my fitness and all this kind of stuff. And then as soon as it come to the fight time, I just have this bad mentality.
Would it be a switch?
Everything went out. I'd be gassed before I got in a cage.
Yeah.
And I'd just be going in for hell for leather, and wouldn't be pacing it and just doing the things that I'd learned to do. So I think my mentality was like, I'd love to kind of go back in and compete now, and just see whether I can go in a bit more composed and execute a bit more. So again, a guy that used to run UCC in Manchester, Danny Hornsby, who's got KO Promotions for the boxing as well. So I used to fight in a few of Danny's shows in MMA, and I saw him at UF and just said to him kind of like, if you got any shows, I'd love to jump on one. And then we got communicating a bit and talking, and he mentioned kind of fighting for a belt, so we put a belt on. So last year, kind of, I went in. I was meant to be going in with a lad called Luke, things from Huddersfield, and he fought a few weeks before and busted his eye up, so dropped out. So then they got a lad in from Blackpool. But yeah, so that was a good show, and then obviously got to defend that. It was meant to be on April the 1st, but I might be moving to May the 20th now, so it's going to be this year. So again, so it's kind of, it is white collar. But putting me in with guys at top end that are decent, that want it as well, do you know what I mean?
Of course,
so
it's all about kind of preparing for that. It's that mindset again, isn't it, really? At the end of the day, like, if you're going, it doesn't matter if you're going into a professional fight or a white collar fight, you're still going into a fight. You still need to prepare the same sort of levels.
Yeah, and again, exactly, it's matching. So, like, I think Danny was like, well, we were laughing about, because for the last fight, because white collar's done on a camp-based system.
Yeah.
But no one wanted to fight me from the camp. So then Danny's having to reach out to find people. So then this Luke that he found, who would fight me, had fucking over 150 fights or something on his belt. Do you know what I'm saying? So he was
here we go.
He's fighting pro MMA, 150 fights under his belt, done boxing as well. So then, yeah, it's a white collar fight, but you're fighting a pro fighter. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's the levels you're at. But yeah, I'm not. And I know some of the pro boys down at the Phoenix camp, and I class Eamon as a good mate. We don't know each other like too well, but I class him as a good mate. We've got a good relationship. So I'm not stood here kind of saying I'm anywhere near that level, and Jack as well, and those boys, good set of boys. But that's the difference, man. That the hours that I was putting into MMA in my 20s, they're putting into boxing now.
Yeah.
I'm boxing once a week with my coach and trying to get on sparring on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And a few bag rounds. Like, I'm nowhere near training enough and wouldn't be that. But what I want to do is put myself in a predicament where I'm going to fight someone in a controlled environment, a boxing match, and can I execute. And so yeah, I just want to get a couple more in terms of that under my belt.
Are you very competitive, Ben, would you say?
I think I am with myself. And I think, again, it comes out of frustration because of the potential I used to have and it wasn't necessarily wasted.
Yeah,
because I still think I've got
it could have been channeled in a different way.
It could have been channeled in a different way. I probably could have achieved a hell of a lot more. And that's something, I think that's one of my dad's biggest, probably, he's never said it to me, but I reckon that's one of the things that ruffles my dad up a lot is that, especially from a fitness side, because he's my dad's fitness mad. If anyone ever wonders where I get my fitness from, it's my dad. But my dad's always known my potential within fitness and in sport, like always known it. But just the one problem, I was always a fit lad. I always picked up sports well, or certain sports well. I just had that bad switch. Mm-hmm. I just had that bad switch, and I just didn't know how to control it back then. Whereas I do now.
Of course.
So now it's kind of going back into stuff, and I think that's a lot of the stuff that I show when I do the outdoor aspects, which are nothing to do with B1. So when I go out, like you say, into waterfalls and climbing walls and all that kind of stuff, that's nothing to do with B1. That's me going out.
That's you challenging yourself.
Exactly that, mate. Yeah, that's me doing a 5K to someone that he's just getting into running.
Yeah.
And they're just different levels. Like for someone that just wants to pick up and do a 5K, mate, I'm shaking the hand saying, mate, if that's your level, fucking go and smash it. And once you've achieved it, that's amazing. And then go and set yourself something else. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever it is, man. It's just there's levels. Find your level and go work on it. It doesn't matter what someone else is at. And I think that's the other thing. Like I look up to people that are achieving things that are phenomenal to me.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring me. I'm not looking at them resentfully thinking, oh, fucking this guy, look what he's doing and fucking hell, I'd never do that. Or he's showing off. It's like, is he for? He's just going out and smashing it. Or she's going out and smashing it.
Yeah.
And that's motivating me. And I think that's one thing I relate with Eamon a lot because he puts a lot of posts on about like haters and stuff like that. And I don't get anything kind of directly at me, but potentially stuff said in the background. But Eamon's just out there eating life. Yeah. And I know a bit of his background from what he told me, but at the same time, man, he's just capitalising now on achieving as much as he can achieve every single day, relentless attitude. And you can't fault someone for that.
No, it's being the best of yourself, really.
Without that,
it's always striving for that sort of best mentality.
And like I say, with the conversation we've just had about everything, like you're talking about, you are capitalising. I won't talk about everything you said, but what you are doing is making the most of your time.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you love your life, you love everything you've got, but you're capitalising on your time.
That's what you got to do.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you can't argue for more.
Yeah. You need to always like not strive for more, but you need to be content where you are, but always want more. You know that I think, because at the end of the day, as soon as you stop, then what is the point? What you're looking forward to? Like simple thing for me this year. I want to go somewhere. I want to go on holiday somewhere new.
Yeah.
Like whether that's a new city, whether that's a new resort, whether that's a new, new country, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to go somewhere new. So at the start of the year, that's what I'm doing. So I said to my girlfriend, right, we're booking holiday this weekend. So booking holiday tonight, and that's it. Get it done, and then who knows what's going to happen.
I love it.
I want to get a pro rugby league player on, 100%. Want to meet a pro rugby league player. I'm in talks with someone, so I'm hoping that'll happen. And I want I want someone else I just want to meet interesting people who have stories. At the end of the day, you're always going to learn off people, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think that's like the key aspect. Do you know with you owning a gym?
Yeah.
Obviously, you get people from every single walks of life coming to a gym. So do you feel like that's kind of moulded your mindset as well by meeting all these different sorts of people?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, interesting question. I think that I co-own the gym in Stockport with my business partner Mark.
Yeah.
And I think me and Mark are so different but so alike. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you, like we are completely different people, but we just share some values that are just so interlinked it's untrue.
Yeah.
And that created Benchmark. So it's a positive environment. It's non-judgmental. And it's just somewhere anyone can come and feel comfortable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that we wanted to create, and that's bred a community. So Benchmark is a community gym. It's a successful gym, mate. Been open 8 years. Probably one of the most successful gyms in Stockport in terms of semi-private, small group training. and it's been bred off the spirit and the community and people walking in and feeling comfortable. Obviously, the years we're put into developing the gym and the structure, and we've developed as individuals in terms of our business minds. And I think we've had quite a few chats recently, me and Mark, about having, like, we're not gym owners, we're business people.
Yeah,
like,
we're business partners.
Yeah, but just in terms of our mindsets now, we are business. Like, when we make decisions, we're making them as a business. So we're not just two lads that own a gym. We're two. He's got his separate business now as well. So that's, again, being around ambitious people. Like, me and Mark aren't set with one, we're set with two, but we know how to prioritise. So it's not going to benchmarks the prime focus to make sure that it's thriving and getting the attention it needs. And then away from that, we start to work on separate projects, but they all kind of interlink and work with each other. But I think, going back to what you were saying there, I think that, definitely, I think that's, again, something that I learned as a PT, which is quite interesting, which was when I started to work on my self-development, and a lot of it is about asking yourself questions about your belief system, how you see yourself. And then when you start to PT someone, a lot of it is down to how they see themselves and their beliefs. And if they can't transition that, results generally aren't going to come.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because that your beliefs and it generally create your reality in terms of what you're going to do, your actions and what you think. So I started to work with people on that sense. But a funny example of, like, when you get someone to come into the gym is, you get someone to come into the gym, they can seem quite obnoxious and arrogant. And what I've learned, and again, there's something that we talk about a lot, is that person potentially is coming into a new environment, extremely scared, extremely anxious, and their way to cover that
is to try and be a bit boisterous.
Or either boisterous or just to kind of quieten up and just be, because you get some people really short answers, they seem like they're not interested in X, Y, Z, and it's like, what I've learned is give that person the best time you can give them.
Yeah.
Just even if they're being quite tight with you, even if they're being quite arrogant or not speaking, just give them space. Still be nice to them, still be polite to them, still be warm to them, still coach them how you would coach anyone.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, by the end of the session, you broke down a shell,
and they're a
completely different person.
Yeah, I agree.
And that for me is because that was me.
Yeah, of course.
That was me 20 years ago. If you'd have met me, I'd have been such a cold, heartless person. It was untrue.
Was there one figure that really changed that for you, or was it just more sort of like yourself then?
It was my mum.
It was your mum? Yeah, completely your mum.
Yeah, even through my 20s, I still had that. Through my teens, I had it. Through my teens and my 20s, I was stuck behind this shell, and I was so socially awkward.
Yeah.
It was untrue. So I was okay around close friends. But then if
the wider group, you'd just get less and less and less.
Yeah, or even if I met someone new,
I'd
be fucking nervous, man. Do you know what I mean? I'd be anxious. I wouldn't know what to say. And because I felt like that and I didn't want to express it, what would I do? I'd put on a frowl and I'd stand there angry.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen then? Well, the last likely to fucking come up and talk to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So and everyone used to be like, fucking Eastwood's just so angry all the time. Look, his angry head. But what they really didn't know was
it's a defence mechanism.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And again, when I talk about vulnerability, which we mentioned earlier, I think that's what people have appreciated. It's like, actually, Ben's coming out and saying he wasn't as angry as people thought.
Yeah.
He was actually a bit intimidated and scared, and he was just acting like that because he knew that act was going to help him in that situation.
Yeah.
But the difference now is, man, like, okay, I can speak to someone.
Yeah.
Because but again, this shit isn't taught in schools either.
No.
So how many kids are struggling with how they look and feel in school, and then that's creating them again to create the shell or to be someone else or try to fit in, rather than just being self-acceptance or working on themselves. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
again,
I agree.
The pivotal point was around 30. Definitely through what happened with my mum, but then don't get me wrong, the discipline I applied to myself, because what happened with my mum, or as big as it was, I could have still just carried on being the same.
Of course, yeah.
He's got, and this is a big philosophy with B1, massive principle. And if you watch me Instagram and listen to me, this will just be bred, post after post after post. It's fucking got to come from you.
Yeah.
And this is actually something that I wanted to get across in this podcast as well. So again, I really do appreciate giving the space on this, because mental health's talked about so much, and I think that I'm a massive advocate of talking, and I appreciate there's so many groups out there that offer a space for someone to go and talk, offer a helpline for someone in need, and I think they're doing an amazing job and they're helping save lives and all this kind of stuff, and I'm big on that. But the one thing that none of them do enough of, in my opinion, and you've got to be, I think they're scared because there's a line, but I'm like, there's a point where you've got to say to someone, to change your fucking life is down to you. Mm-hmm. No matter what you've been through.
And teach them how to do it as well. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But so that's what, again, that's everything that I created with B1.
Yeah, it's just teaching the different qualities.
It's not, he's helping them design it.
Yeah.
Breaking themselves down, understanding themselves better, starting to design and develop the life going forward. So yeah, 100% give them something. But again, it's got to come from that person. There's no one else that's going to literally go into you and make you do it.
Yeah.
Like people want to hold, and I learned this from PT. Like how many people pay a PT £30-40 an hour just for the sake of thinking I'm paying someone £40 an hour as a PT, so I'm going to get results or I'm going to be healthy. It's a fucking... I didn't want the money, mate. I'd say, listen, you're not doing what I'm asking you to do away from me.
Yeah.
You're just paying for the sake of having a PT.
Yeah.
I don't want your fucking money.
Yeah, it's pointless.
It
would be a pointless experience.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree with that massively. I'm really bad. So all my friends and people who know me, I hate being told what to do. I can't do it. If you tell me, right, go to the shop now, I'll be like, why? I'm not going to the shop now. I'm not doing that. And... He's going to be buzzing that I mentioned it, but my manager at work, right? He's been a manager for years. Ever since I started on my lower paid job and working my way up through sales, he's worked his way up as well. We've kind of crossed paths all the way through. But he knows how to manage me perfectly. Where say if we have a 1-to-1, he'll be like, right, what do you want to do? I'll say something. He'll be like, right, and then I'll ask him a question. He'll be like, what do you think the answer is? He's never told me an answer. And sometimes it's fucking infuriating. Don't get me wrong, it can be infuriating. But at the end of the day, because he's been saying to me, like, I'll ask him a question, and he'll be like, right, what do you think the answer is? And then slowly you work it out, even if it takes you a day or a week or whatever. You slowly work it out. But I think that is what you need. Like at the end of the day, any change is down to you, and you have to know how to do it. So I resonate with what you're saying 100%.
What you said there is powerful.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing thing that you've got someone like that.
He's going to be watching this like, he's going to be like, sick.
Well, no, it's props, mate, but at the same time, it's props that, like you say, you're getting frustrated, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're striving, you want to find the answer to something.
But the other thing is, he's intelligent enough to know he can do that with yourself.
Yeah.
And know that you're intelligent enough to find your answer. Even if, like you say, it might take a day or 2 days, but he knows that you're going to take time and think of the right answer, but then also put the work in to make that happen.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful relationship, but that's also showing emotional intelligence and IQ at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously shows why you're so successful and ambitious and driven and all this kind of stuff. And you bang on. It's like it's got to come from the individual. But so many people struggle with, I don't know what I want, and it's like that's not good enough, man. It's a surface level answer for you to say I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
Take fucking time.
Try something.
Yeah.
Try something new. Like,
exactly that, mate.
Just try something. You never know what you're gonna like until you dive into it. Like some of my mates right now, they're in jobs where they're jobs that you don't talk about in school. Like DJ, like Dan who used to do his podcast, he's a DJ.
Yeah.
Like, when did you ever get told?
Yeah.
Go into DJing, but he found that through uni, and now it's his full-time work. Like sometimes you just need to dive into the deep end. If you make mistakes, if you do something wrong, doesn't matter. 100%. You just kind of got to move on. You always learn from it, won't you?
Like, honestly, mate, hearing you speak is so refreshing because you bang on anything in this day and age is possible in terms of what you can do, but also the areas you can create a fucking job in. You can physically create your own business in any area now.
Yeah,
that's the potential, and it's just got to come from, like you said. I heard something once which was really powerful, which is try something 3 times. The first time you try it, even if you don't like it, it might just because you had a bad experience or just couldn't get the hang of it.
Yeah, nervous, anxious.
So you go again, maybe a little bit more confident, a little bit more comfortable, so you actually get the hang of it. But then you come away, I'm going to go one more time. And on the 3rd attempt, if you still don't like it, okay, or still weren't good at it, whatever it may be, and just think, actually, I don't really want to go into, fair enough. But by the third time, you generally made a solid decision.
Yeah.
And I liked hearing that, but I think I'm big on what you've said there. Like, you've got to go and try stuff. You've got to go and experience stuff. Again, the barrier then is, are you confident enough to go out? But again, to break confidence, you've got to go and do that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I think you're bang on with it. But in this day and age, but it's funny, innit, how uni, forget like the social side of uni.
Yeah.
The potential of uni for creativity and what you can go and do, I think is huge.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be bred at a younger age in terms of expressing like what's, because mate, especially now how I'm not anti-tech, but the world's going tech.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just a fact, isn't it, nowadays? It is a fact.
So where we're going to be with AI and all that kind of stuff in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. So it's helping kids now develop the skills that are going to help them grow and do stuff. And again, they can do it like kids are creating better content than fucking.
Oh yeah, there's one that I always think of. I think it's called like Ryan's Toy Review.
Right.
He's like 8 and he's a millionaire. He's got millions of subscribers. Oh, he's done it for years.
Yeah.
All he does is just get a toy and he'll just review it and he'll just talk about it. And he's done it and he's just. I don't know. It's just nice to watch. I don't know why. He's a millionaire because of it, and he's not even 10.
Mate, how mad's that?
And it's like, you what?
Yeah.
It's mental, but it's. Yeah,
do you know what that breeds though? That breeds ambition.
Yeah, definitely.
So where that did you say 10?
I think he's
around
like,
that.
Yeah, he's around about that age now. But he started off when he was like 6, 7, something like that.
But my point being, Matt, you give a 10-year-old kid, or say for example, a 10 to 15-year-old kid, from around our area, from around Manchester, Greater Manchester, and they're just in a normal way of life in school, which is potentially just messing about, bit of drugs, bit of antisocial, whatever it is. You drop £1 million in their bank, where the fuck's that going to go? But this kid's earned it through doing something that he's passionate about, taking some creativity, taking some discipline, taking some skill to create. It's creating ambition. So with that £1 million that he's gained, whether it's all literally cash or asset, whatever it's based, he's still got it. He's ambitious now to develop and do more. So he's going to now have a lifestyle, I can 99% sure, where he's going to be building things, building different businesses, different ideas. Do you know what I mean? So in at a young age, it's not the money that's going to affect him.
No, yeah, of course.
It's the fact of what he's created already, and that's developed him, and that's the power of it, mate. But has anyone? He's expressing that more to youngsters.
I feel like
everyone's like anti.
You can see it more nowadays as well. Like the best example I was is like I don't personally like them, but the Paul brothers, Jake and Logan, mate, Logan Paul's fighting Tommy Fury. If he wins the WBC, have said they're going to rank him in the top 40. What?
Yeah.
Like he's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And like look at Prime Drink now. What? All they've done is just gone straight into ambition. What's next? Like KSI could have retired 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now he's just constantly evolving, constantly doing more things. But it's just, I feel like with kids nowadays, with you watching people like KSI, people like your Sidemen, people who are just honest people.
Yeah.
I feel like that works really well because
100%.
It's just breeding that ambition and what do you want to do? How are you going to improve it?
And it's massively interested in your talk, mate. I think there was a reason that I wanted to reach out to you as well, and it's shining through because when I think about my youth, all I did was listen to rap, and watch gangster movies.
Yeah.
So what was my inspiration?
Of course, yeah.
I was footy mad at that. I'm not a massive footy fan anymore, but I was footy mad at that age, don't get me wrong. Footy was probably the only thing that I did around that time, but again, ended up getting kicked out.
Yeah. You're watching gangsters rap and just smoke weed every day. Why do you... you're going to go into weed, aren't you?
So where's your mentality? Well, I'm going to listen to rap beats and I get into something. So me and my mates used to DJ, we used to smoke weed, we used to take pills, we used to do drugs, we used to pretend we were gangsters when we weren't. Do you know what I mean? And but then we tried to live that life, and it's like... The difference now is, and again, it's the benefit of social media. So take away the negatives, everyone talks about the bullying online, all that stuff, and I agree with that, but there are ways to monitor it. But the benefits of it, if you are following the right people, man, and like you say, you talked about all these people then, and the difference is their lack of fear in failing.
Yeah.
They're like the drink, the smash, it's like, they're just going to go for it. I'm just going to ask.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask. I'm going to try it. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And if it doesn't work, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to fucking go again.
Yeah,
I'm going to try this angle. I'm going to try that angle.
Else.
And that, honestly, that relentless mindset and attitude will get you to where you want to be. It might, and this is the other thing, it might not be where you thought it would be, but it will be somewhere where you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's the best thing I can ever say. B1 when I started B1, it was about, right, I've completely changed my fucking life. How can I create something now to help other people change theirs and utilise what I've utilised? Not telling them they should do what I've done because I'm my own person, but showing them the things that I read and did the courses that I did and all this kind of stuff, like how they do them themselves to get their own answers. But the journey to get it to where it is now has gone down a million different paths.
Of course, yeah.
And I've had a million different setbacks, and I've had a million different people that I've worked with, and it didn't resonate, and I've put thousands of pounds into it, and it fell out on its arse.
Yeah.
I've had so many reasons to stop, but I didn't, because I believed in it, and because I've just got this attitude of, man, like, what would it be doing if it wasn't doing that?
Yeah. Why drop something? At the end of the day, like, if you believe in like this, like, as you can expect, like doing a podcast self on your own, like, it's not impossible, but it's hard.
Mate, yeah.
It's fucking hard.
Like, you got 3 cameras. You
It's a free camera setup. We've got 2 mics.
You know what I mean?
Like, if equipment costs money at the end of the day, it costs money, it costs time.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, I've got a house, I've got a mortgage, like, I've got a girlfriend, I've got friends who I see as well. But everything takes time, money, but why let it stop you at the end of the day? But I'm not perfect. I know that. There's some things I should improve at, but everyone's got that, haven't they? Everyone's got something they could improve at, or what they thrive at. But it's just trying to channeling that into one bit at a time.
But yeah, like you say, mate, it's about constant improvement, or the constant want for improvement could be better.
Yeah, the one. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's like it's never going to be what you want it to be, because everything should evolve and continue to evolve, and we do as well in terms of maturity. What we like The Rock, like Dwayne Johnson, like, is a massive inspirational figure for me, especially in my hard times. Like, he did a YouTube clip, it's about 18 minutes long, and I went through a really bad spell, and I used to wake up. I couldn't sleep, so I was late. I wasn't going to bed intentionally late. I was trying to go to bed early, but I couldn't sleep, so I was laying there wide awake. I can't remember whether I was having like a spliff at night then to kind of, because I came completely away from weed, but the reason it came back into my life was to help me sleep. So what I used to do was have one spliff just before bed to chill me out to get to sleep. The issue became that one spliff, and then you get home from work and you'd be like, oh man, I might have one now, and then before and then it's back in. So unfortunately, it got addictive personality. That one spliff to help me get to sleep led into me getting home and starting to get stoned again. So then I had to completely cut it out. But my point came from what I was saying there. So I struggle sleeping, but I've learned how to work better with my mind now before bed. So I have better sleeps now. But I used to wake up 3-4 in the morning, and the first thing I'd do is put into my ears this motivational, inspirational speech from Dwayne Johnson, just talking about when his back was against the wall and all this kind of shit. And it just set me. I just woke up just like, right,
resonates, doesn't it?
I'm having today.
Yeah.
I'm fucking having today.
Yeah.
It might feel negative, it might feel down, but I'm making today mine no matter what. And even if I'm making it mine, and this is something else that I'm big on, which is, if you know what your goals are, and you know what your targets are, and you know what your actions are, no matter whether you're in a positive state or a negative state, you can still get them done.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you still get them done when you're in a negative state, it means that when you come out of the negative state, you start to feel positive again. You're fucking proud of yourself because you carry on moving forward. Whereas what a lot of people do, they've got all this shit in front of them. Positive state, they get it done. Negative state, they don't. And then the negative state, they come out of it and they've got a fucking hurdle to climb. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm such a big believer in saying, like, even when you feel down, you still get shit done. You might not be doing it feeling the best, but I can guarantee...
It might not be as hard. Sometimes when you're like in that positive mindset, you might be achieving more than negative, but just achieving something when you are being negative.
Just keep ticking off.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. Like, the one I always use quite often is make your bed every day. If you make your bed every day, like, it's a very famous thing that people cry, but if you make your bed every day, you've done one thing good.
Yeah.
You might have a shit day after that. You might have an awful day. Like, I don't know. So everything could have gone wrong, but you've done one thing that's good.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah, but
something like having a shower.
Yeah.
Just having a shower, that can be another thing where it's just, you've had a shower, that's done what's one thing you've done that's benefits you.
Yeah. And again, it's all reframed. So like The bed one's meant to be a start. So you do something positive, you tick something off, and it's going to propel you then maybe to do something else. The wash one, I buzz off because it's funny that we're sat in barbers doing this now, but another one's kind of like, if you have a fresh trim,
yeah, right, here we go. I've got my trim literally on Saturday.
You just feel a bit better about yourself. You pick yourself up. So it's kind of like you say then, self-care, looking after yourself. Right, I'm going to have a shower now. When you get out of a shower, you feel fresher.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like you just washed fucking shit. You come out, you feel fresher. So again, it's just little... and again, but people fall in slumps. And like you say, they won't have showers. And they won't do... And I'm not saying that fucking everyone's listening, it's got to do with bed. But it's like pots... bed, there's some form of self-care and self-worth, and it just breeds into your life then. And I think that it's just a big one, mate, in terms of... But again, it all comes down to understanding as well. And
of course.
I think for a lot of people that can hear conversations like we're having now and get a bit frustrated because they think, well, I don't know, I feel lost. Like, you're talking about kind of still getting shit done when I feel down, but I don't know what I should be getting done. I don't know what I want. Do you know what I mean? That's still in a lot of people's minds. And they're in this automated pattern of going to a job that, like we've talked about, I don't know whether we did off air or on air, but potentially they don't like. They're not a massive fan of the job, but they go into earn money because in this day and age, you've got to earn money to pay the bills. Yeah. So they go into work, then they're finishing work. They've not majorly got any hobbies. They might be looking after the kids, and it might be to the pub to have a few pints. It might be at home having a few drinks or whatever it may be. And it's this automated cycle. And it's for them people that I'm saying, okay, so just sit down and just assess what things bring you positivity for your week.
What makes you smile?
Yeah.
Simple thing. Like what makes you smile? Is it watching TV? Is it watching TV? Watch TV for half an hour a day. That's a positive change. That's something that can... Is it going out for a walk? Does that make you smile? Or is it just a case of, I don't know, going to sleep half an hour earlier? Sometimes having half an hour extra sleep a day...
massive.
Innit? Sleep is the most underrated thing in the world. I'll stand by it. 100%.
I couldn't, mate. I swear my life... powerful for that because last year was the year that I realised how important sleep was. Because before that I operated off fucking... Everyone used to be like, how'd you go up at 4 a.m? What time do you go to bed? I'd be like, probably I can't get to sleep before 11 a.m. Sorry, I can't afford to sleep before 11 p.m. That's something that I should stop saying to myself because it's forming a belief. But generally around that time, if I go to bed any early, I'm like looking at the ceiling. So everyone's like, how you operating at 4 hours sleep? And I'm like, I just do it, I just get it done. But it's a wrong mindset to have because I got shit done, but when I get a solid 8 hours kip, I'm different motherfucking guy the next day.
Everyone is.
So I'm not just ticking stuff off, but I'm ticking stuff off with like a fucking big fat green tick. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like next level tick off. And I've got a lad now, so sleep's interrupted. But me and the missus had banter about this in a minute as well. It's like you get a good night's kip, we're all waking up on another level. So I agree with you on that. I think I underestimated sleep for so long and got into this mentality because there's a lot of people out there. But this is one common myth that people get wrong, which is there's a lot of people out there say get up early and attack your day. So people have got this mindset of it's little sleep. That's not what most people are saying. What most people are saying is go to bed a bit earlier.
That's what they do.
And get up early.
All the people who get up early, they're all in bed by 8, 9 o'clock.
Exactly.
Because they understand that to get up at that time, they need to have the sleep.
Exactly.
Sleep is one of the most important things in life.
Yeah.
And it's just true.
Yeah.
100%. Well, that has been fantastic in episode.
Okay, I'm going to carry on coming, mate.
Just had a look at time and I'm like, that camera's already off. But that was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing your story.
No, I appreciate having me on it, man. Appreciate it.
Mate, really. So just shout as well. So it is B1 Mindset.
B1 Mindset.
So is there a website? Is it just...
Yeah. So www.b1mindset.com. At B1 Mindset on Instagram, and then obviously my gym over in Stockport, Benchmark Gym, which is benchmarkgym.co.uk.
All going to be linked anyway in the description, and just shout out it's Ben, your personal page.
Ben.Eastwood _ BE.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate that.
I appreciate having me on, man.
Right, it's been a pleasure. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Go and show Ben some love as well. Does a huge favour coming on here. And if you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star review. It always helps massively. But yeah, shall see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Man.